Good day everyone, it's Grizz. I'm back in the garage for some more fun with the Punisher build. I'm determined to get this bike finished as soon as I can. We've got a few key things here which are going to really help us. The master cylinder, front master cylinder rebuild kit, and the seal kit for the dodgy brake calipers. So today I'm going to kind of whiz through things a bit. Today I'm going to do, first thing I'm going to do is sort out this dirty air filter, because I need that to dry so I can re-oil it and I can start putting back together everything on the top of the engine there, all the air box, etc. So yeah, I'm not going to really make this video a how-to. Here is a link for how to strip down and rebuild brake calipers. The one I'll put up is the one that I did on the Hayabusa, which was on the rear. It's only one brake piston, but basically it's the same principle. You'll see it anyway. What I'm going to do, I'll film it and speed it up, but I'm not going to really do a tutorial of how to change your brake caliper seals. The same for the master cylinder as well. Here is a link for the front master cylinder, which I did a rebuild on the Hayabusa, so there is a link for that one. And also here is a link for how to clean and re-oil a serviceable air filter. The one I'll put up here is for the K&N air filter. This is a BMCL air filter. I'm gonna use the same kit, same oil and cleaning solution. They're virtually all the same, these filters. They're all made out of basically, can we see this? I don't know how well you can see it, but yeah, it's all made out of the same stuff. I just need to get out the debris out of this, a bit of foam and a dead fly. So I'm going to get those bits out and I'm going to move on and get it cleaned. As I say, today is not a real kind of how-to video, but just like watch me do it type of vid. So yeah, I'm just trying to push ahead, guys. Sorry it's not really such an involved video and to throw those links up, but I want to try and get this bike finished and into use. There's some bad weather coming up by the looks of it, and I'm commuting to work and from work, so I don't want to use the 916. I used it Friday, which was absolutely superb, lovely to use it. It was spotted with rain a little bit on the way to work and then stopped, thank God. So yeah, I don't want to get that dirty. It's just not really good for the 916. And I'm going to have to use the Hayabusa, I think, on Monday, which I've actually got up for sale. So I need to stop using the Hayabusa so I can keep it nice and clean. And I need to get the Punisher finished so I can just get that into use. And then those two bikes, the 916 was, I think we're probably going to put it into the lounge and store that in the lounge for the winter, and hopefully the Hayabusa will sell at some point and we can have a bit more room in the garage for doing some work. Talking of work, I've also got to service Taffy's bike, her 916. The MOT is due on that. So I need to, I've got quite a lot of jobs to do for this. RNG has given us some crash bungs, so I'm going to get those fitted. I've got a full service kit apart from the air filter, but spark plugs, oil change, brake pads. I'm going to give her bike a good going over. I've been meaning to do that for a long time. So that is also going to be coming up on the channel. But today it's this lot. Front master cylinder, front brake calipers and the air filter. First things first, let's get the air filter cleaned. Right, this has had a soak for 10 minutes with the air cleaner, and then it was run under a tap from this side to push all the dirt out from this side, because all the air gets sucked in through this side. So this is where all the dirt is sitting. It still looks dirty, but it's just wet. So I'm going to leave this now to dry, and yeah, once it's thoroughly dried out, I'll get some oil on it. But now, in the meantime, let's get moved on to some of the other jobs. Right, so next job is the calipers. We need to get them stripped down so I can fit all these new rubbers. We've got a bunch of new rubbers, loads. Yeah, and all the little ones as well. So yeah, a bunch of rubbers to change over on the actual pistons or piston seals, dust seals, etc. So let's strip them down. Right, I had a bit of a problem getting these pistons out, even though I had pumped out these pistons like as far as I could without them actually touching together. But yeah, even though I've done that and pumped them out loads, and I thought that was going to make the extraction of these pistons much easier, I couldn't get them out. I just didn't matter what I'd done. I couldn't get any purchase any grip on them and pull them out. So I resorted to doing something which I saw on Del Boy's garage. Watched him do his Hayabusa front calipers, which are the same 6 pots. And yeah, he used a method and threw away the pistons after. Now, these pistons, they're not particularly damaged from doing this. And I really do not want to replace these pistons because I can't afford to. So I'm going to do this probably on the other caliper as well, but I'll show you what I've done to get them out. They're really hard to get out. So, all right, you probably don't want to do this, but I'm going to show you anyway, and I'm going to be honest and keep things real. Hit the dislike button now, by the way. But anyway, yeah, one of these inside like so, and then an Allen key jammed in between it, and then turn the Allen key and it turns the piston and you can pull the piston out. Now obviously that will mark the inside of the piston, which, to be quite honest with you, I don't feel is a super essential thing, but you've got to be careful not to mark up the top of this, because this is sitting on the top of your brake pad, and you don't really want that kind of getting caught and scuffed up and the pad not being able to move around freely. So I might just go over the tops of these with a little bit of fine wet and dry to take off any rough edges. This is far from ideal. In an ideal world I would be replacing these pistons, but these calipers are not worth me fully reconditioning. I've spent £25 on the seals. I'm just going to put new seals in, the old pistons back in, try my utmost to not damage these when I'm taking them out, and that's what I'm doing. So yeah, basically, you know, not ideal, but that's the way I'll do it. I'm doing it. As I said, feel free to hit the dislike button. This isn't what I would recommend others to do. In an ideal world, we would replace all of these cylinders, but I'm then going into hundreds of pounds for the repair of these brake calipers, which I cannot afford at the moment. So it's a little bit kind of ghetto style removal, but it's got the job done. I'll show you what I did on the next side, on the other side. Sorry, I was in two minds whether to show you or not, but as I said, gonna keep it real. Let me show you on the other set what I did. Right, so this is how I do it. Basically, don't do this at home. This is what you do if you're not going to reuse your pistons, but yeah. Bosh. 1/8. So yeah, it leaves. Can't really see if you can see that very well, but anyway, yeah, that's how I'm doing it. That's how I got them out. Now, coming back to these, like 11 years on since I've actually got these powder coated, and with hindsight, looking back on it now, really what I should have done was cleaned off all this powder coat off of these areas and basically left this as bare metal, because what's happened as you can see is that dirt is built up and got into this powder coat, and it's slowly bit by bit kind of breaking away. And as this kind of breaks away, obviously it can allow a greater dirt build up, and yeah, we'll just clog up those calipers, clog up the sills even quicker. So I'm gonna basically remove this powder coat off this area. I think at the time when I'd done this, it was the first bike I've ever kind of stripped apart and built, really, to be honest, and it probably wasn't my best work. I was recovering from illness at the time, so yeah, excuses, but that stuff just shouldn't be on there, because it's just causing more problems that we don't want. Admittedly, these calipers are in very bad condition, and really I could do with getting them completely refurbed, or just throwing them in the bin and kind of upgrading and changing to a new brake caliper, but that is just completely out of my financial reach at the moment. So I'm just trying my best to put these back into some kind of serviceable condition without spending a stupid amount of money, and also without kind of, I want them safe and fit for use, without kind of putting my health and safety at risk. Anyway, that's enough of my health and safety speech. I'm going to get on and clean all this powder coat off these areas, and remove any loose stuff that I feel that might cause a problem, and yeah, try and get these back into some usable condition. Might get a little bit of sandpaper on there or something to get rid of the main of it. We'll see how we go. But anyway, what a mess. Let's get it done. Right, this is as best as I can do. To be totally honest, guys, these calipers need a complete refurbishment. Yeah, sandblasting, throwing in the bin. not what Grizz is doing. But yeah, I had a little polish just to see if I could get some of the gleam to come back again, but they are definitely past their best. And yeah, now all this bare metal, I need to get a little bit of paint on there just to provide some protection, because this will corrode. This is going to be my kind of commuter bike for I don't know how long, many years hopefully, but I won't be using these brakes for many years, but they do need to last me through the winter. Now if I leave this bare metal like this, this is just going to corrode out in no time at all, so I'm going to have to get some kind of protective coating on there. I'm going to probably use some high temperature paint and yeah, just put it on with a brush and try not to get it down into those areas where the rubber seals get, just to provide a bit of protection against the elements. But yes, that is about as good as I can do. Now I just need to do the other 3 calipers. I'm not going to show you that because it's going to be a lot of work and it's going to be very boring. Right, let's let me get on and do some more. Right peeps, I've been cleaning these up for quite some time now and cleaned up all the excess powder coat that was on them and cleaned out the pistons, well, the area where the pistons sit, and I'm going to put some protective paint on them. This isn't an exacting science. I'm not really too concerned if I get a little bit of overpaint on some areas, because there's some areas that I also need to get a coating on, so I'm not looking for an amazing super finish. What I want more so is a protective finish on some of these areas, just to prevent any corrosion building up and just prolong the life of the caliper basically, or the caliper should I say. But they are rather they're rather tired, but I still think we can get these into use. I'm going to use some black caliper paint. I'm just going to brush it on, like it says, brush on. So let's brush it on. Right, we have a problem. I've painted these up. They look like, well, they don't look great, but the paint is given a nice protective surface and will definitely protect the metal. I've painstakingly clean these up and kind of make sure that where the brake pads fit, they'll slide and there'll be no interference from this paint. So I've cleaned them all up, made sure all the edges were nice and clean around these areas, made sure all the edges were clean inside where the pistons go, and thought I would give them one last clean up. Now I used this stuff, can you see that? Autotech performance brake caliper paint, and I gave the calipers just now a final kind of misting over of the Seal Clean brake and chain cleaner. That stuff is strong stuff because it did this to the caliper. Yeah, it took all the paint off. I've now got, well, I've just had to basically clean all the paint off these calipers, which was pretty much unexpected. I was tempted on the first one that I did, I was tempted just to clean it off and paint it again, but I would rather have these calipers nice and clean and just give them some extra attention maintenance wise than have a paint on there. I don't know if this is like a weak paint or if that brake cleaner is just like super strong. I think it is super strong, but yeah, I don't want this paint kind of causing even more problems than just plain old dirt and maybe a bit of road salt corrosion throughout the winter. So I will be giving these more regular cleaning intervals than I would normally on my bikes, and to be quite honest, I'm probably going to end up at some point in time trying to upgrade these brakes to something else that I can fit on those forks as a GSX-R K1 fork. So yeah, 6 pots basically back down to the metal. It will make for good installation, but they will be just a little bit more vulnerable because I've kind of, can you see it very well? Yeah, I kind of sanded it down a little bit, you know, so that metal is a little bit exposed. I would have liked to have got something on there protective, but it is what it is. I'm gonna get and clean this last caliper and get all the paint off of it. I'll show you how strong or how weak this paint is. Let's have a look. Right, I've zoomed ahead a bit. I've cleaned everything up. Sorry, I'm trying to cut some corners with this video because it's now actually getting a very long video. Yeah, a lot of cleaning has gone on. I've cleaned up all the brake pads and all the fitting parts, all the screws and nuts and bolts and all the pistons, all the calipers. Now I've still actually got a few things to do, which I said I was going to do at the start of this video. I've still yet to rebuild the master cylinder with the rebuild kit, and I've still yet to oil the air filter. I'm going to put these calipers together and then we'll come back to these. I mean, the oiling of the air filter is very simple, quick and simple, but the master cylinder is a little bit longer process, and I don't want to completely skip through everything, although I'm kind of having a bit of a go at it. So yeah, let me get on and get these built, and we'll bring the video to an end, and we'll come back to these other things in the next video, because this is like a super long video. Right, I've just laid everything out. I've got some red grease, which is for kind of good for on your installation of your rubbers. Here's all my rubbers. I've laid them all out, made sure I've got the right sizes. These are the actual kind of washers as such, which go on the bottom, and these are the actual dust seals, which go on the top. This is the little one, which will go in here. So I've made sure I've got all of my seals first before I actually start assembling these. Yeah, sometimes you can just get away with using the red grease. I don't like to use too much of this because it doesn't mix very well with your brake fluid and kind of contaminates it. So for ease of installation, you can also use some brake fluid. This is one I've just had from work, from my old place of work, but yeah, so I might use a bit of a mixture of that. But basically all we're doing is getting a dab of the red grease, sorry, and putting it in the area where the seals are going to sit. Try not to get too much in there. I might wipe some of the excess out with some blue roll, and yeah, then sit the seal in. Anyway, let's get it done. yeah, I need to get that a little bit more evenly coated before I put the seals in. But anyway, I'm going to fast forward through this a bit. Wish me luck. Right, actually it's easier. I've just wiped some of that out because that was too much in there. It's hard to get it in those seals, so what you can do, the easier way as I remember doing it, is actually get some of that red grease on the actual seal itself, work it around it. You don't want a bunch of it because, like I said, it doesn't really mix very well with your brake fluid, but it just eases insulation and creates a better seal on the inside. But anyway, a little bit on like so. Give the whole rubber a good coating and slip it in. That's a fatter one, so it goes down on the second groove. Getting it in is interesting though. He's in. Right, that's the first one in. You see that? Right, now I'm going to fast forward it through all the others. Right, that was the pistons in and seals in with no real trouble. I just wiped away any kind of real heavy excess of the grease build up from installing the rubbers. They went in nice and smoothly. I'm gonna just use just a little bit of WD-40 just to clean off any excess of that grease, and then I'll use that rubber to put them together and do them up with the bolts. And yeah, that's that kind of done really, one side at least. Anyway, let's get on and do that. Right, that's that one done. All pretty straightforward stuff. I've just done these up kind of hand tight for now. The bolts, I will check those torque settings when they go back on the bike, and I can check them properly. As I've said already, obviously they're not in the best of condition, but that should see them working properly now, all being well, once we get the master cylinder rebuild done as well. But anyway, I'm going to get on and do the other set and speak to you in a moment. So the calipers are together. Now it's time to put in the pads. I'm using a very small amount of copper grease. Sometimes I won't even bother, but seeing this bike is going to go through the winter, and knowing that these brake calipers are a little bit problematic, just for ease of use of the calipers and winter kind of maintenance and use, I'm going to use a very, very small amount, and I'm going to keep a regular kind of look onto these calipers to check their condition. So I've literally just smothered a little bit of the copper grease onto each side of the pad. Now pay great attention not to get any of that on the actual pads themselves. Then slide them in to the side of the caliper, and then get the pad, get the pin in. Right, now the pin, I do like to put a bit more copper grease on there just to aid lubrication of those pads to move around, because they slide around on this pin, so it's important that this pin is in good condition. I've cleaned it up, put like just a tiny bit on the thread, and yeah, we just slide that in to the top of the caliper and screw it down, sliding through both brake pads. So obviously you've got to pay a great deal of attention to make sure you don't get that copper grease on your pads. And yeah, that's that kind of sorted. I'm going to take my glove off because I don't want that getting on the pads. So I've already again just put a slight slither of copper grease, not much at all. I really don't like using much because basically it just pulls in a lot of dust, and brake pads and calipers don't mix. So again, I'm gonna get my finger dirty with a little bit of copper grease, get some on that pin, slide it through both pads and screw it down. Right, so now I'm going to get the other bits on and then we're done. Right, that was a flipping lot of faffing around, but they are together, they're ready and fit for use. Hopefully they'll be alright, they'll do a good job. They're certainly better than what they were when I took them off. So yeah, it is what it is, guys. Like I said, in an ideal world I'll be upgrading the brakes, but just can't afford it. It's not on my budget at the moment. And yeah, there was some kind of dodgy work done on those calipers, but it is what it is. I think they're going to be safe. I think they're going to do the job, and that at the moment is my primary concern. Right, next things to do. I mean, there's a bunch more things to do yet, but next video I'll get on and do that front brake master cylinder, and also oil up the air filter and whatever else. We'll see what else comes, but there's still a lot more to be done on the Punisher. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.